Good evening and welcome. What I'm going to show you tonight, I've already done this and made it work, but I just want to show you how I did it. So this was the Hornby Eurostar motor bogie that I purchased to turn this free rail EPB that I'm building, Hornby Dublo. They're old Southern coaches. I wanted a template, so this is the motor bogie that I chose. Now obviously I've had to do some modifications to this. I've chopped a bit off the end here to make it a bit smaller. I may have to modify a bit more yet, but anyway, I have made this work free rail. I like it because it's got drive for both wheels, which I think is obviously going to make it more powerful. There is a small video that you can watch that I've made on my channel of it actually pushing the driving trailer coach, just to see that it will push it. I had to put a bit of weight on, obviously, because when this is connected to the coach, it will be weighted. Obviously, under its own power, it's not enough. But obviously, most motors, motor bogies and things, will have weight above them to give them the traction that is required to drive it along. Right. So, what you get on these is you get a choice. You just get the two wires with it, with a suppressor on. You can either connect this side, which will obviously go down to this pair of wheels, or you can go the other side if you want. There is a terminal. So I just chose a side and done that. And of course, for me, on this, you can expose the actual two terminals on the motor. So all I've done is connect the red wire to that connection which goes down to the wheels, and this one to that side of the motor, and then this one comes off the motor, and if I turn it upside down, you will see what I've done. I've made a skate. Well, I didn't actually make it, I've modified it. Now some of you might recognize what this is, and some of you, perhaps like me, wouldn't have a clue, but it was down to my son that introduced me to this. He made a similar thing a long time ago, not the free rail EPB, but he made something into a free rail by using this. Now this is made by Marklin, and Marklin use this on a lot of their coaches for running things like tail lamps and all the rest of it. It comes a little bit different, obviously, because there's not a lot of room underneath this, and you've got a cog either side, so you don't need to foul that. But this does actually work, but you have to have a little bit of modification. These copper bits that you can see that I flattened out here, they actually grip round a piece of insulation board, which is on the original, because it sticks out a lot more. You can see that this will, if I can get this underneath, like so, this will come up quite a bit. Obviously, it's been flattened down a bit because obviously I don't want it lifting off the track, but you can, it's very sprung with the copper underneath. It's very sprung, but once you've got it set in the position that you want, and obviously there'll be weight on top pushing it down, it does run quite nicely. So all I've done is where I flatten these copper bits out, I've smoothed off the bottom of the actual bogie because it's got some writing on there that Hornby have put. So I just literally filed that off nice and flat, and then I've just used a basic super glue to glue that on, and it seems to have held. I've had it running for quite some time under test, and it seems to work quite well. So that is the simple way. None of the real proper Hornby free rail stuff, the skates that they make for them, they're quite big. You'd have to have a totally different chassis, I think. I wanted to get a chassis that you can get off the shelf. Like I say, I paid 26 quid for these. Now these Marklin, if you go on eBay, they're £6.95. So this whole thing is £6.95. Well, you've got to take it to bits and make it fit what you want. But there you are. They're used for lighting in coaches, like I say, tail lamps on the back, all that kind of thing. And of course you can utilise it if you want something like this to run on a free rail. So does it run? Well, there we are. That's the big question, isn't it? So we'll put it on the track. I'll just make sure you can see the track in there. You can. And I'll give it a little bit of power and it moves straight away. I'm not putting any weight on it now, and it goes so fast actually on its own that it's incredible thing. It really does go. And of course with weight on it, like on the little video that I made last night, you can see, you'll see it running around. Now we're not too far off the next phase, and the next phase obviously will be connecting the other portion to it by putting some kind of bar across the top onto a block so that it's articulated both front and back. Obviously it's got the rear bogie, be the right height, and then put the coach on, and then we will have a running unit. That's the plan. Oh look, it actually moved off by just that one there. No, I didn't know that was going to do that, but there you are. So yeah, so it did work just by that sitting on there like that. Who would have guessed? So yes, so it's I think it's a very good, and just to prove that we've got a free rail source of power for our EPB. So we're well on the way now. So the next bit is obviously putting the block on the back of this and making some kind of bar and a bit of weight. You do need weight on this front bogie to hold it down, because the whole thing weighs a little bit. It's not that heavy, but what I like about it is the smoothness of the running. But I think that's because, yeah, it's a very modern motor. It's not like the old clunky ones. It does run very slow like that. So I think that is very successful and quite cheap really. So remember, Marklin, £6.95 on eBay. Get those, and well, you can basically transform anything you want. You can put lighting, even if you're just using it you know, just for lighting in coaches. So you could add that to your free rail stuff. But if you want to make a free rail item that doesn't actually exist, you can make that. So I think it's obviously opened up a lot of channels by using that skate underneath. I filed it a lot just to keep, I mean, this was used on something else, so it's in a sense second hand, but it's a very simple thing and it goes on quite easily. I've just stuck it with super glue. I think it's on there pretty permanent. A little blob of solder for the wire that comes through to the side of the motor. Very simple. So yeah, I can't wait to get on with the next bit, and I can't wait to see the whole thing running, which I think will be good. So anyway, I'll keep you posted, and goodbye for now.